Argentina's inflation rate is so crazy you won't even think it's real. Argentina's inflation rate is 272%.
A lot of people tagged me to respond to this video, so let's take a look.
And they got the new guy, and I'm not going to even say his name, but yeah, they got him in, and he's supposed to be some economist expert. And I mean, clearly not. He made everything worse.
He who shall not be named is Javier Milei, and he did not make everything worse. In fact, most things are better, like inflation, for example, which is down to 4%. What he's looking at is annual inflation, and Javier Milei has not been in power for a year. So let's look at monthly inflation instead. We can see it fell for 5 months in a row before slightly rising and then falling again. Try to guess where Javier Milei came into office. Time's up, it was right here. Argentina was in a recession for half a year before Milei came into power. It is now out of the recession after 7 months of his policies. These results are because of Milei's shock therapy, which is very similar to what Poland did when they got out of communism. Historian Rainer Ziedelman points out a lot of similarities between the two countries. But first, I have to further point out the biggest flaw in that guy's video. He completely ignores historical context. At one point, Argentina was one of the richest countries in the world. The Argentine people were famous for having been rich. But that changed in 1945 when Juan Perón came into power. He was heavily influenced by various socialist, unionist, and fascist. He began nationalizing industries, hiring more and more public sector workers, and the results were not too great. Almost every single year, with a few exceptions in the 90s, Argentina has had double-digit inflation. Perón and his successors ran the country into poverty. Much like Poland in the 80s, it was incredibly poor, incredibly in debt, there were chronic shortages. Leszek Balcerowicz is one of the key people who turned Poland around. He was much like Javier Milei, or since he came first, Javier Milei is much like him. Both of them being economists who adhered to the Austrian School of Economics. While Balcerowicz's shock therapy was initially very tough on Poland, it eventually made Poland the fastest growing economy in Europe. That was an incredible accomplishment, and today we are seeing Javier Milei essentially doing the same thing with Argentina, as long as it keeps going well. It is still a bit early, we're only 7 months in, but I expect over the next few years we are going to see Argentina become incredibly wealthy, as long as they follow the same principles that saved Poland.